Election 2008. This is PNC News, special coverage of the Guam general election.
Good evening, Guam. Thanks so much for joining us this evening for PNC's coverage of Election 2008. I'm Mana Silva. It's a pleasure to bring you the results this evening. Now, we are going to head over to the University of Guam, where they're beginning to receive some of the tabulations or those packets coming in from the polling places. Josh Dekenko is there with this report.
Hafaday and good evening. Behind me, you have precinct officials just checking in their boxes. The first 3 of the 58 have arrived so far. They are Agana Heights, Jotnya, and Manilao. And from there, they're going to be checked in and also be taken over to be unlocked with GEC Director John Blas. And from there, they should be over in the Station 3 area where they'll be counted. Now, we're still waiting for other precinct officials to arrive, and we'll be giving you more updates as they come. Back to you, the studio.
And we'll have more reports from the University of Guam throughout the evening. And now joining us in the studio again is UOG Professor Ron McNich to talk about those poll results that everybody seems to be interested in while we wait for the results from the Guam Election Commission headquarters at UOG. Now, you can log on to our website at www.pacificnewscenter.com if you'd like to see the results for yourself. It's right there under top headlines. McNich shares exit poll results. So if you want to see those for yourself, please check it out. But you know, I was looking at some of those numbers there, and you were mentioning some changes that have taken place over the last couple of days. Now, is it significant what time of day this poll was conducted?
Well, especially on this day because it was not a holiday today, and so we tried to catch people before they went to work and then after they came back from lunch, and that was our time frames that we shot for. So this was a little bit of a different exit poll in that regard, whereas when you have a holiday, you can catch them pretty much any time during the day and get a good sample. So this one's a little bit different. By the way, we feel really secure in our Prop A numbers. That's a simple choice, yes, no. There's only 2 ways that a person can vote. The problem with the legislative race is it's like having 26 little bouncing balls up and down. Now, some aren't bouncing all that much, but a lot of them are bouncing a whole bunch. And so what happens is it's a little bit more difficult to find out how high or how low they're bouncing. And that's the real challenge, is we have so many candidates and trying to put them in. But we feel pretty confident that 12 or 13 out of the 15 that we've identified are going to be finishing. And
now, just going back to the Prop A race there, your results were 42.5, and that would be the majority of voters saying no, they did not want Prop A to pass on Guam. Now, in the village race, is there a significant difference between the North and the South, how they voted in your poll?
Sure. We showed, for example, Tamuning, a slim majority in Tamuning liked Prop A. Well, that's fairly easily explained if it plays out in the real election that, well, where's the Guam Greyhound track? It's in Tamuning. So it could be that because it's situated there that they like it more. But in general, there are some places that are really intensely against Prop A. We noticed 1 or 2 places that share that characteristic and or appear to share that characteristic. But we don't know because the numbers are so low. For example, Agana was 75% against, but the numbers there are so low that we can't really tell right now.
And I kind of noticed myself that Prop A seemed to appeal to a certain demographic, more the younger voter.
Right. It appeals to the younger voter. It appeals to a certain type of voter, not your normal mainstream voter. The key challenge and failure of Prop A has been that they haven't done their homework very well in their research on how to get their issue passed according to what our population looks like. Their key failure is they really don't seem to, from the approaches that they've used, appeal to the mass majority of voters that will actually vote for them.
So do you think their job fair yesterday made any difference in their campaign this time?
I think that they do one every time, and I think that their numbers are pretty much the same as they've been before, which means that they haven't really, all else equal, all these things going back and forth aside, they haven't really made any progress, in my view, to really try to get that basic 50% of the public to support them. And to do that, you've got to have a wider cross-section of the community, and you have to change. They have to change some of their tactics. It's very, very clear.
Thank you, Professor McNich, and we'll hear more about your poll throughout the evening. And of course, you can log on to our website to check out those results. Now, teamwork was the theme for the mayoral and vice mayoral candidates during the primary, and those 4 teams already have confirmed seats, but there is some competition in some of the other mayoral races. PNC's Nick Delgado brings us the story of what mayoral races are left to be decided.
The Guam Election Commission says there are 19 municipalities and villages that are authorized a seat for mayor, and only 5 that are authorized a seat for vice mayor. During the primary, it was a team effort as several mayoral and vice mayoral candidates, such as those from Barrigada and Sinahanya, campaigned side by side. Most of those candidates from the primary election have been confirmed. Sinahanya Vice Mayor Robert Hoffman says it was a decision made not only by the people, but by the legislature.
With the recent passage of the recent election change with Rory, that actually enabled us to be moved up toward that. So we're done with our election. Many villages are done, only several villages.
In the general election, only 10 villages remain without a newly elected mayor, which includes Asin Maina, Pidi, Santa Rita, Umatic, Maritzo, Inarajan, Talafofo, Orat Chalampago, Momong Totomaiti, and the village of Agate, which is without a vice mayor. 7 candidates in those villages are incumbent and are up for re-election.
We're kind of happy and we're relieved because it's over. Some of us still miss the kind of campaign, so it's actually been a lot less low-key, not like where the primaries were a lot more active. To get out the vote during the primary were so big. Now, I didn't really see a big push about that because I think everybody already registered who could register.
The other 9 mayoral candidates were selected during the September primary. Nick Delgado, PNC News.
Well, that's going to do it for now, but we will be back in about a half an hour with Catherine Cruz Norton, so stay with PNC's news coverage of Election 2008 throughout the night, and don't forget to check out our website at www.pacificnewscenter.com.
Senator Frank Ishizaki on education.
But I have great confidence in Narissa Britannia Schaefer and her ability to manage, and she's proven her abilities in the past. And I'd like to give her more time to carry out her skills and give her time to build her management team. And I trust she'll do a better job at managing GPSS. I do have concerns about some of the problems that seem to be ongoing, like textbooks and the problems with the recent problem with missing checks. And I think that she needs to get some help to properly manage some of those components that may have some problems.
Election 2008. You have been watching special coverage of the Guam general election from PNC News. From broadcast to broadband, news you can trust.